We're talking San Antonio Spurs. We're going to dig into some of the questions regarding their rotation, some of the players on this team, and how they make it all work. Michael Bolton, let's go.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and they don't call me Riverwalk Josh for nothing. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. New customers right now can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We're available on all platforms, so give us one of those thumbs or two of them if you got them. Listen on the audio, the video, thumb it up, comment. You know how it all works. And what we also know how it works is that we're doing a team preview, and we're talking about the San Antonio Spurs. So, of course, for the 10th consecutive season, we are here to talk about the San Antonio Spurs with the host of the Locked On Spurs podcast, Jeff Garcia, is back. Jeff, welcome back.
Good to be back. How you doing?
I'm good. It's good here to talk about this Spurs team who should be looking to make a pretty sizable push this season towards the NBA playoffs. This isn't one of the main questions we're going to ask, but I think most people know this. Victor Wembanyama is healthy, ready to go. No restrictions. We're all good, yeah?
Oh, yeah, we're all good. He got the clearance from team doctors to resume full contact practice. And hopefully he brings all that Shaolin knowledge and Kevin Garnett chats.
What about bicycle kicks?
Yeah, bicycle kicks to training camp and open runs. I'm looking forward to not only him doing dazzling things as he always does, but can he finally get close to a full season? That's my big question for him this upcoming season. I know he can put it together defensively. He's a beast. Offensively, he's a monster. But can we get him for at least 70 games, for the first time in his young career?
Yeah, I think we're okay with that. I wouldn't be that worried about the blood clot thing. Obviously, that's one of those things that happens. It's a freaky sort of a situation, clearly, and it's scary, but it's all good. I think we're okay with that. But that's really outside of hey, will he get a random blood clot that ends the season early? Yeah, there's no real question there. The question to me, or one of the big questions, comes with the guards. Not only did they have the Rookie of the Year, Stephon Castle, they traded for De'Aaron Fox and gave him a very, very lucrative contract, but then they took Dylan Harper at number 2, who was, in my mind, very clearly the easy choice there, irrespective of those players. Now, the question is going to be regarding the starting lineup, and the Spurs historically, Jeff, even last season, Stephon Castle was a bench player until 4 or 5 guys were out. They did that with Devin Vassell. These guys don't start necessarily. Castle, Harper, Fox, if it was me, and it's very clearly not, I would be trying to capitalize on an award for Stephon Castle and moving on, because I think Harper is the guy they want to build around. But we are not going to see Harper in the starting lineup opening night, are we?
No, not at all. No, it'll be Castle and Fox starting in that guard spots heading into the next season. And you're paying a guy, Fox, how much money? Seriously, generational money? Yeah, he better be starting. So, check that box. And then Castle, obviously, he earned the spot, came in late last season due to injuries, and really showed out. Rookie of the Year, put up monster numbers offensively, defensively. His shot was still a little suspect, but to his credit, it did improve towards the end of the season. Not by leaps and bounds, but it was enough to at least put a little smile on your face if you're a Silver and Black fan and say, okay, he's getting better. This offseason, he's been working with the Garden Whisperer, Olin Simplest. So he's showing out that he's working on that 3-shot, and that's the biggest jump for him next season. We know he can attack the rim. We know he can score in the paint. We know he can facilitate. We know he's a dog defensively. But if he could just open up that mid-range game, deep 2-shot, 3-shot maybe, then watch out NBA. This guy's going to be a handle.
He had some horrific shooting numbers. If you look at the course of the season, there was some nice little spikes there, and in the end, it settled in a pretty bad area. We're talking bottom 10 to 15% of players in the NBA. My thing with Castle, everyone who's watched this show for a long period of time knows that I am not high on him, and I have never been particularly high on him, and for the reasons that I think showed last season. And I think a lot of what happened, and you would have seen this, Jeff, is down the stretch when those guys are out, he was fed everything. He was you go out there and have 33 usage and you do everything. So the counting stats, they ticked over. They were huge and they were big, but on a real team, when your best 2-3 players are in and he's not one of them, he can't do that. My query with him is, like, you've heard this narrative a lot about this team. What are they going to do? They've got 3 point guards. All right. Yeah. So last season, they drafted Stephon Castle and they went and signed Chris Paul. They had Trey Jones. In college, he didn't play as a point guard. This season, they traded for De'Aaron Fox and they drafted another point guard. He's not a point guard, I don't think. I don't think he's a point guard at all. And then to me, the worry I have with him is as a shooting guard playing on the wing. Like, if you can't shoot, where does he fit? How do you see him positioned? Because again, every move that his team has made, his college team made, suggests that we actually do want somebody else to be the point guard. How do you view that?
Yeah. I'm assuming you're talking about Castle, right?
Yeah, Castle, yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure I got a little confused there. Yeah. With how he fits in, I think what makes him be able to fit in is that he can play the 2 or the 3 at most. So I think that's where you'll see him or at least new coach, I guess new rookie head coach technically, really try to use him at different positions. I think that's where you're going to see him. Wouldn't be surprised if he's at the 3 spot from time to time, but I think he'll heavily be in the 2 spot next season. You're right. He got a lot of usage because the Spurs just got wrecked with injuries. Namely, the big one was to De'Aaron Fox towards the end, and that really helped Castle at least get some numbers up. But I really think they believe in him. They invest a lot in him. They really see him as part of this. I guess the building blocks to get out of the rebuild. Technically, I think they're just a step away, from getting out of the rebuild and really having a nice run in the coming seasons. But I think with Castle, they see him as a foundational piece alongside with Wemby and Fox. So they may not say it, but I think I'm pretty sure they believe that he is part of that. I don't want to go as far as say he's a big 3, but they do see him as that. So I think his fit is going to be wherever they need him to fit. They need him to run point guard. They're going to make him run point guard. They're going to look. It's not. Are you shocked that the Spurs are trying to force somebody to make a point guard to be a point guard? Because they did Jeremy Sochan a couple of years ago. Yeah. So it's common in San Antonio. And think about it too. Go back in history, the Spurs have been looking for big guards. Josh Primo didn't work out, but he was a big guard. Now you got Steph Castle, a big guard, and I think the wrench in all this is actually Dylan Harper. You read my mind. The wrench in all this is Dylan Harper, because if this kid shows out, then they have a good problem to have. Then how does this fit? Because how do you justify benching the number 2 overall pick if he's playing like the number 2 overall pick?
I think they get a bit of they get leeway this season because it is a rookie season, and this is they can just point to all of these guys and go, look here, Manu came off the bench his whole career, and Devin Vassell came off the bench, and Castle came off the bench, and the only one who didn't is Wemby out of these recent. Like, they've got like that, but there will be a point where it's not feasible if he develops the way he is. To me, he's got more shooting upside than Castle. He's got better passing upside. He's big, like he's like 6'5". Like, there's a lot to like about Dylan Harper. I think it's going to be rocky as it is for all rookies early on. That's just a common thing. Like, we know that's how it goes. But I was incredibly encouraged watching him in Summer League, even though the numbers aren't. Like, he shot 13% from 3. Who cares? Like, it was just the way that he played. He was able to manipulate games as much as he needed to. I thought his defense looked good. Yeah. And what you said, I think, is the key part of this. It's a great problem to have, because if they all work out, fantastic. You know what? That gives us opportunities to either have them, trade them, get other pieces in, like, do whatever. Like, you'd much rather have all of them be great than all of them be bad, because then what the hell do you do?
Yeah.
Like, that's not how it works.
And that's key. I think it's getting not looked at these 3 guards here, is that if it doesn't work out, they can move one of them and make it work. And, oh, no, I'm making this just an example. Well, we traded Fox. Oh, no, we only have Harper and Castle left. Or we traded Castle. No, not Harper and Fox. So they're good either way. If it doesn't work, they can make a decision and move on from the 3-guard lineup. If it works, thumbs up, let's rock and roll, and hopefully the Spurs break out of their playoff drought. And here's the thing too. I'm expecting Harper to really, really force this coaching staff to be okay. Yeah, he's got to start. I think next season they're going to come to a impasse at that point, because if he's going to come off the bench to start this season, it'll probably be a little rocky. Rookies are shaking out, getting adjusted to the league and whatnot. But I just feel that it's going to come a point where Harper's going to go, I get it. Yep. I get it. Yep. And they feed him the ball, and he's just wrecking shop. And the thing about it, the Spurs in Dylan Harper's mold, they haven't had a guard like this ever. Not even he has a little bit of Manu. He has the size. He has the shooting ability, the slashing ability. He can facilitate. The closest, and you'll probably correct me right away, the closest comp I could think of in a Spurs jersey was maybe DeJounte Murray. Maybe it's the closest comp.
Yeah, I think that Harper's got. I think Harper's a better passer. I think he's got more shooting upside than DeJounte. DeJounte did have some good shooting seasons, but size-wise and length and all that sort of stuff. It is
length, everything.
I agree with that. That's a pretty interesting sort of a comp. Harper's a different sort of a player, more of an in-control player. He's someone that even if he's bad for the first 2 months, I have no concerns. I just he'll figure it out. I'm that confident in his ability as a player to fit in and work where it needs to go.
Sure.
It's a good problem to have. It can become a problem, and we want to see how it all works out. The worry, of course, of this is all shooting. But you know what? We've talked about these 3-guard lineups, right? We haven't even talked about the guy that's been the starting shooting guard on this team for a few years in a row now, which we're going to come back and talk about Devin Vassell in a sec. Before we do that, today's episode is brought to you by Open Phone. If you run a business, you got to make sure that you are contactable. You don't want an emergency situation where someone calls and then they just can't get a hold of you. They just move on to the next one. You're not going to wait around for someone to get back to you. OpenPhone has the AI agent that helps you handle after-hour calls, answer common questions, and capture the lead so you never miss a customer. It enables you to integrate your business and personal phone because you access the OpenPhone number on your phone or on your computer using an app. It's the #1 business phone system built to streamline and scale your customer communications, all from that app on your phone or your computer. The shared inbox is great because anyone on your team can jump into any conversation instantly without missing a beat. OpenPhone is offering you guys 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/lockedonnba. That is openphone.com/lockedonnba. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone, no missed calls and no missed customers. So, Jeff, we now have to talk about Devin Vassell, who got that pretty big extension a few years ago, was someone who had stepped up into roles of being like a number one before they had Victor Wembanyama on the team. And we hear the narratives, we hear the discussion. We've done it right now. Hey, what about the 3-guard lineup? Well, I'd say, what about the actual guard who's been good and has helped this team out? And where the hell does he fit now? Because if we're going to play Castle, Fox, and Harper together, I don't know where Vassell fits in that. So my question to you is where is he? Where is Devin Vassell in the Spurs' plans at this point?
If it's up to me, he's coming off the bench.
Interesting.
I think that's the best fit for him. I think he's off the bench, in my opinion. He hasn't really adjusted to taking a secondary, tertiary role. And if you look at the depth right now, obviously Wemby #1, obvious. You got Fox, obvious #2. He's there. That's the 1-2 punch. And then what? Is it Castle? Is it Harper if he really comes on? How does he fit? We can't even forget about Harrison Barnes, who
I hope we can. I hope we can forget about him. But you're right, he's going to be there.
He's going to be there. There's just so much going on revolving around him. And if they decide, I can see both sides. If they decide to move on from him because just the fit is just not there, I get it. I understand. Maybe he just needs a new address. But if he's willing to come off that bench, all right, and come off with not with just him, it's Keldon, it's Vassell, it's Harper, start the season. It's Olynyk, Cornette. That's a pretty formidable second unit the Spurs could have on their roster. I just don't see Mitch Johnson telling, obviously, Fox to take a seat. No, it ain't going to happen. He ain't going to tell that to Harper or to Castle. Obviously, you're not going to do it to Wemby. So that leaves Barnes and possibly Sochan as the other, I guess, two that could really compete for a starting spot. Unless Sochan wants to come off the bench, that's fine. But I think
but Vassell can't play. Vassell can't play the
four. Exactly. See, you're stuck. Yeah, you're stuck. Is it Barnes? I can tell you right now, San Antonio, that team, they love Barnes. I know you don't, but they definitely love him.
It's not that I don't love. Yeah. I look what he does and the way he's able to fill that need of like an open corner 3 spacer and provide passable deep. Like if you need to rely upon him to do more, forget about it. He's never going to do it, right? He's not going to contest shots. He's not going to
be his role then, because the Spurs don't, as of right now, they don't have spacers yet.
Yeah, he'll do his thing. He'll be there. He'll hit those open shots, and that's it. Like, don't ask for more, and you might not getting any more, but you're not getting any less. He does the thing, and that's important when. And they don't have that player. They don't have a 4 that can shoot like that. And like if Sochan becomes reliable there, maybe that happens. But Barnes is going to be at the mix. The thing with Vassell that I find intriguing is that like, okay, so his usage has gone down from 25 to 23 to 21 the last 3 seasons. They've pulled him back, but he's a reliable shooter. Like 37 last season, 37 the year before, 39 the year before that, 36 the year before that from 3. All really strong numbers. I'm known as people might say a hater, I'll just say a pessimist on what Castle is able to do. To me, having Vassell next to your long-term Harper and Fox or Harper and whatever makes a lot of sense because he shoots. He can ramp his usage up. He can pull his usage back down. He can run secondary pick and rolls. He can also not need to do that. He can defend. He can play passing lanes. He has shown a malleability to me to be able to move in and out of, hey, you want me to be the number 1? You want me to pull back? You want me to do this? All while still being a good shooter. But it does seem, like you just said, I think he comes off the bench. He might come off the bench. Like, it just seems he's like, he's a bit of an afterthought. We've got these other guys. And in terms of, like, common sense lineup construction or how it works, I don't really get why the team and the moves they've made have just seemed to be like, whatever. Like, he's sort of as an afterthought. Moving Keldon Johnson to the bench made sense to me. I never believed in him as a long-term starter. I don't get it with Vassell, but I think this is a real make or break season for him. Yeah, and here's the other thing too. I told you this idea is, do you have that conversation with Barnes and say, hey, we think you're better off coming off that bench? Can you imagine that lineup then? Okay, then that changes everything. That's Vassell, Sochan, Wemby, Fox, Castle. Not too bad at all. That'll be very potent. But yeah, that's the thing. And I'm glad you tell me your feelings about Castle, because I had a Castle jersey to send to you all the way up the street. Send it to you. I still rock it. I just have so many arguments with people about Castle. I remember when he was drafted, people were like, hyping up, and I was like, I'm not sure. I go, look, I think Spurs would love it best case if he can turn into Derek White, because I love Derek White as a player. And
nothing wrong with that. I'm cool with that.
And they're like, no way, man, that should be the absolute floor. I go, okay, we need to settle down with our expectations on these players. Like, Castle can be a valuable player, but it's more about like where are you setting the expectation? Like, what do you think he's going to turn into, this high volume shooter who's a multi-time All NBA player? Like, I don't think so. Can he be a starter for certain teams? Absolutely. Like, can he work in certain scenarios? Yes, if the role is correct. And like me saying don't think he's a multi-time All NBA guy doesn't mean I hate him. It just means I've got this different sort of expectation to where the ceiling goes and trying to fit. Because ultimately, Jeff, with everything we do on this team, whether it's signing De'Aaron Fox to a huge contract or whatever it is, none of it matters. It's all about how do you fit with Victor Wembanyama, right? That's every question. It's nothing else. Nothing else realistically matters. It's like how does everything work around Wemby? And honestly, we don't even need to talk that much more about Wemby, but that is how every decision needs to be made. And you've also brought up this guy's name quite a bit as well, Jeremy Sochan. From what you've said, you seem to believe that he is probably going to be a starter on this team. I want to dig into that in a second because he's a really intriguing player. We'll get back to that in a sec. Today's episode, it is brought to you by FanDuel. And with summer sports in full swing, it might be baseball, golf, NASCAR, soccer, international tournaments, whatever it is, FanDuel is the best way to get in on all of that action. You're following the games, you're watching, you're around the narratives, you know what's happening in these sports. So why don't you put your knowledge to the test with FanDuel, get in on the games where your friends, like the stupid idiots that they are at the beach getting sunburned, getting skin cancer. Why would you do that when you can just open up the FanDuel app and have a look? You can track all of your favorite matchups, keeping it fresh every day with new daily promotions. It's fast to pay out, it's easy to use, and all of that action is right there on your phone. So if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. You might even be able to lend some money to your friends who need to go buy some sunblock because they're out in the sun. Like, again, the absolute fools they are. Open the FanDuel app or visit FanDuel.com right now today to get started. I'm glad that, organically in this show, Jeff, you've brought up names or we've had absences in conversations of the way that I wanted to structure the show, because I didn't even tell you the guys I was going to talk about. And you've mentioned Jeremy Sochan multiple times because, like you said at the start of the show, they said, hey, let's make you a point guard. Now, he was never going to be a full-time point guard, but on a bad team, let's see what you can do. And then last season, he was starting at power forward, and they said, hey, how about we make you a backup center for a period of time, and let's see where it goes. So what is he? Like you said here, maybe he starts next to Barnes, which means he's like a hybrid 3-4. They brought in 2 other backup centers in Olynyk and Cornet, so I don't think he's playing that role anymore. So what is he? Like what is he on this team?
I'm gonna answer that with how Mitch Johnson answers that. He's just a basketball player.
Okay.
I think that's what he is. He's just a basketball player. You know, you put him at the 5, great. You put him at the 1. Spurs did that. Fine. It might be a disaster, but yeah, he'll do it. But naturally he is the 3, and that's what I like about the additions to the roster. I think one of the ripple effects is that it helps Sochan maybe play his natural position, which is the 3 spot. The 4 spot, excuse me. So, you know, he doesn't have to be worrying about backing up Wemby as much. You don't have not only just him, you know, Mamu's gone, another undersized big backing up Mamu. You know, here he's going to be at the 4 spot. I think that's more of his natural position. So that's why I like the additions of Cornet and Olynyk to the roster. It's going to help Sochan, and I think you might see him flourish a little bit more, knowing that pressure's off him. He's not wearing a point guard anymore. That experiment's over. But we're in at the 5. Maybe if they want to play small ball, but outside of that, you might see him take a little more steps towards the right direction next season. I don't know if it's too soon to say his guy's never going to be a reliable 3-point shooter. I'm almost there. And maybe he has occasional 1 or 2, you know, but if minimal, Josh, I'd love to just some sort of a mid-range game, anything, a put shot, anything. I think that will help because I would love to put him in the pick and roll where he's the one receiving the ball, not necessarily facilitating. I think that would help his game as well, and the Spurs as well. So, you know, he's another guy too that, you know, you look at him and his future in San Antonio, what's it going to be? He's up for a contract extension. And as of this recording, been quiet. And the extension, well, the time for him to up his extension is past already. So he's playing in a contract year, technically. So he might be a little bit more aggressive, you know, to prove that he's worthy of a contract extension, either in San Antonio or elsewhere. Because if not, he's a restricted free agent.
I don't care if he's more aggressive, to be honest. The shots just need to go in because he shot 31% from 3 the last 2 seasons, but like over the last 2 months, it dropped down to 27% from 3. And part of the thing with him is like from a fantasy point of view and deriving value, you want him to start. He played 30 minutes a night as a starter, 22 minutes a night as a bench player, but he shot 23% from 3 in those games as a starter. It's this incongruity with his numbers, right? You look at it, well, he shot 75% from the line. Shouldn't he be a better shooter? Okay, maybe. But then when he was off the bench, he shot 63. Like, he's all over the place. And that inconsistency is unreliable. Like, okay, well, he's always hitting his free throws, so eventually it's going to come along. And you mentioned it already. Like, can you give me something? Because, like, he hit 24% on his mid-ranges, down from 45% as a rookie. Like, that's horrific. Now, I don't expect him to be that bad because that is like, hey, there are only 20 players in the NBA worse than me sort of bad. He showed it. He was 45%, and then he was 34%, and now he's 24% on his mid-ranges. So, like, we need to see that improve. And then we saw an improvement in his free throws, Jeff. He changed his form and the one hand, and then it went bad again. Like, it went back to under 70% last season. So, like, where is it? I like the overall game of him. I that description, it's cliched of Mitch to say, yeah, he's a basketball player, but he is. Like, okay, well, he is. He rebounds it. All right, he passes okay. He steals okay. Sometimes he shoots well. Sometimes he doesn't. He just does bits and pieces. But okay, let me ask you this question. What's his one standout skill? Apart from being a basketball player, like, what's his thing? Like, what's his one thing? I'm not really sure I know what it is.
Yeah, you know, that's a good question here. I think, see, I don't know if you need to go on the defensive end because he's okay. He's not great. He's all right. You know, so defensively, he's okay. But I don't see him going on all NBA first team defensive team. I don't see that happening. Second team. I don't know if Josh would even do third team anymore. I don't know. But I don't know what it is. Just he just does. It's like it's weird because you look at his stat sheet. Like last season, you know, after the game, you know, they hand out the stat sheets, and I'm looking at it, and he's just peppered everywhere. It's he had 8 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists.
Yep,
great, good stuff. You know.
Yep. Yeah, look at these games. 9-5-2-2-1.
Yeah,
Great. Like,
exactly.
10-6-3-1. Great. Like, just doing little bits and pieces, but never one thing that goes, holy shit, he averaged 18 points a game, or oh my God, he got up to 5 assists a game, or he's averaging 2 steals. Like, okay, sometimes you do it and sometimes you don't. And there's inconsistency in role. He had some injuries as well during the early portion of the season where he missed a big chunk of time in November as well, which can set guys back. And then he came out and had a couple of 20-point games and a string of double-doubles in there as well. So, like, it's there. It's just not consistent enough. And we're in a situation where we do need it to be consistent because they need to make calls.
And that's where maybe I think, seeing how he operates away from being a 5 and just being a 4, and that's it. That's your role. We'll rock and roll. So let's see what you can do. Maybe that'll help him next season, but it's weird because we talk about the stat sheet right now. It's like, oh my God, Sochan, you shot so horribly. What is it? Oh, okay, you had 12 rebounds. Great.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you had 3 steals. Eesh, like you can't. It's like I can see him talking to us right now and be like, okay, but look what else I do. Okay, I do this and I do this and I do this. So. Yeah, as cliche as it sounds, maybe Mitch Johnson is right. He's just a basketball player.
He only played 25 minutes a game last season as well, so that'll be interesting to see how it went. And by my tracking of it, 41% of his minutes were at center, 59 at the 4. So that's obviously going to change.
Here's something, Josh. Do you think he'd be better suited off the bench?
I do, yeah. I think that, to me, the lineup is you have Vassell there to shoot, you have Barnes there to space and shoot as a low-usage guy, and then Sochan comes in and he just does bits and pieces of everything. Like, you put the ball in his hands a little bit, you run him off pick and rolls, he gets time with Wemby, he gets time with Dylan Harper as well. To me, you play him 27 minutes off the bench as your sixth man, and him and Harper are the main 2 guys there. But again, there are many ways they can go. They can go Barnes and Sochan, they can go Sochan, Vassell, they can go Sochan next to the 3 guards. They've got like at least a really strong sort of 7 deep grouping, and then you've got Olynyk on top of that, and you've got Cornette on top of that. I haven't mentioned this man's name once, and he started many games last season because he's a reliable shooter. But Julian Champagny, like, he's actually he's a good player. Jeff, Julian Champagny in 2 years' time could very easily, we could sit here and go, he's very clearly better than Sochan. What are we talking about? Like, he just does he does what he does, and
and I don't think he gets enough credit for the defensive end. He's not that bad.
No,
he's pretty good defensively.
I think he's pretty good. I agree.
Yeah, he's
not quite as good as his brother defensively, but he's a better offensive player. He's a better shooter. But now we're in this situation, like, either Julian Champagny is getting squeezed or he's that 8th guy in that mix to where it is going to be harder for Sochan to get 25 minutes and to establish himself into this larger role, because we're into the situation where you're a good team. Yeah. There's not enough minutes for everybody, but we all need you to do your little bits and pieces to make the team better. And that's going to be the big challenge, I guess, for Mitch this season.
That's where I struggle when I get asked, well, who do you think what's going to be the starting 5 next year? You brought up Vassell. Okay, sure. Not a problem.
Yep.
I can bring up Sochan. All right, I get it. I get it. I can see that. Sochan, we talked about it, a little bit of everything. I think a starting unit would love to have a player do a little bit of everything, do some of the dirty work and whatnot. But you start Vassell, great. You got a guy who hit the mid-range, hit the 3 shot. You got a guy who created his own shot, who's gotten bigger over the season. He added more muscle to his frame. There's that as well. So that's the one spot I struggle with. But personally, if I had to pick right now, I think they go Sochan starting and Vassell off the bench.
It's going to be so intriguing to watch how this plays out, because now there are expectations. You've committed this money. You've got these picks. There are expectations. You need to be in the play-in at worst, and then we'll see where it goes, Jeff. And, of course, you'll have it all covered for us over on the Locked On Spurs podcast. So, once again, thank you for coming on for the 10th or 11th consecutive season to talk about this Spurs team. It's always different. There's always something interesting, and this is going to be a fun team, Jeff. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you again for coming on.
No problem. Look forward to that Castle jersey coming at you.
Yeah, can't wait for it. In all of that, we talk about the depth of this team and those players and that 7 or 8 guys, if you include Champagny. Like, Keldon Johnson is in that mix as well now. I don't think... Who's Keldon Johnson? Forward Stephon Castle? Maybe. I don't particularly love Keldon Johnson, but as a 20-minute-a-night reserve player is there. They are deep. Are they great? No, but they are deep. And depth... Getting depth in the NBA this season is going to be the key. Teams are going to, I believe, play faster. I think what we're going to see this season in the NBA, okay, this is a general overview. Pace up. I think you are going to see steal rate across the league up, turnover rate across the league up as teams put more ball pressure on. So you are going to see players get more tired. There's going to be more depth required. You're going to see, instead of 7-man rotations, Tom Thibodeau, you're going to see 9s, 10s, 11s. You're going to see Steve Kerr's foreseeable future 13-man rotations at times, because they are going to be like, we cannot put our foot off the gas, because if we do, our opponent won't, and we will get cooked. So be aware of that. Depth is important. Depth is more important. More pressure, more steals, more pace. I think that's what we're going to have this season. Who knows if it's going to come out that way, but that's how I think it is going to play out, and the Spurs are building that depth at the moment. If you want to build some depth with me, whatever the hell that means, hit the thumb on the video, leave your comments, subscribe. Guys, we're done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Oh, by the way, next show, Sacramento Kings. Oh my God. So much fun. See ya.